Good morning everybody, it's now the 15th of March 2022. I thought I'd just show you where I am at the moment in the season. I've got a few trays here of early cuttings which they were all over the space of about a 5-day period from the 14th through to the 19th of February, and it wasn't every tray that didn't do very well. Some trays did okay, but these four in particular, I lost quite a few cuttings from through blackleg. Whether it was my potting mix or whether it was the humidity at the time, I don't know. It was before I've installed my new propagating bench for the cuttings. It may be that they didn't like it under this in this polytunnel specifically. And as you'll see shortly, I'll show you the next batch of cuttings, and they all seem to be doing very well. So it could be any number of reasons, but anyhow, there's still a few there that have rooted or in the process of rooting, so they'll be fine. I've got some trays of pot tubers which I've only just set up a few days ago, but already there's some signs of life coming there. And I noticed one or two this morning just starting to form. But otherwise there's plenty of cutting material on the go. I took a big batch on Saturday, so hopefully by the weekend there'll be another big batch to take. I've got a few that I picked up from the National Society AGM. From David Hall. This is Rosemary's Blush, and a couple of them I've topped already. I've taken the tops out to root those, and I'll use these as mother plants. As you can see, these all the side shoots are starting to get away already, so I should take cuttings from those in a few weeks' time. As you can see, plenty of cutting material coming along. The majority of the plants on this side are small dahlias, small flowered, so small decorative, small cactus, semi-cactus, and up to the mediums, medium semi-cactus. I haven't got any medium decoratives in here. I generally don't do medium decoratives. I've got a couple of tubers in another tunnel. I may grow one or two. And then I've got some Kenora Challenger, large semi-cactus, and the one that's taking its time is Kenora Valentine. It's starting to throw cuttings now, or shoots now, so it won't be too long. And that was only because this last section of about 6 crates didn't have the soil warming mat, the heat mat thermostat had broke, so it didn't have any heat under it for 2 or 3 weeks. So that was all just running a little bit behind schedule. All the trays along the back side there, and virtually all miniatures, as I grow a lot of miniatures, and water lilies and such like all along the back. So yeah, mainly miniatures and water lilies all along there. I've still got I've potted up a few over the back there. They're the first few that are potted up, and a few that I picked up from David Hall. And then the rest, I've just got lots of spare pot tubers. Pretty much all White Candy, Kenora Challenger, Rycroft Helen, Eastwood Moonlight, all whites and yellows, which good on the show bench, but generally not most popular if you're trying to sell any. Anyhow, that's this polytunnel. I'll move over to the next one. Right, this is the propagating tunnel, and as you can see, got a few spring bulbs in here as well. Daffodil seed, sorry, daffodil show season starts this Saturday, so I will be busy starting the flower shows at the weekend. Then this is where I'm propagating my cuttings this year. all on a new hotbed, covered in fleece. Just the fleece is directly over the plants, and as you can see under there, they're all coming along nicely. Those about five trays are all rooted, 6 trays. They're all away now, and the other batches further down coming along nicely. So a big thank you to Ian and David and Raymond for all their advice regarding taking cuttings successfully. Still got a few sweet peas there to pot up. It's just some spare ones. Off to the next tunnel. Right, this is the third polytunnel, and what I've done here, I potted up or just trade up a lot of spare tubers. These are all mostly second year tubers, so they could be split, but I've really just trade these up for one particular purpose in mind, or as a backup, an addition to help me out, because what I'm hoping to do this year, I've had my application for Hampton Court Flower Show being accepted, so I'm planning to do a dahlia display at Hampton Court on the first week of July, which for those of you in the UK know is a little early for the dahlias. So these will all be planted up in the polytunnel, in the big polytunnel, in 2 or 3 weeks time. As you can see, there's some growth coming on most of them now, and these will all be planted in the big polytunnel in the hope that they will be out for the first week of July. So it's a bit of a daunting task. I've not tried purposely to get flowers out that early. I've still got lots of spare tubers here, but they're all certain particular varieties. There's a lot of white candy and Kenora Challenger and bits and pieces that I don't really need, so a lot of these will probably end up in the compost or being given away. So that's the reason for all these tubers in here. I may split some of them still, but I should just grow these straight up on a crown bud, more than likely. I'll reduce them down as they grow. I won't grow too many, don't want too many on each plant for what I'm planning on doing at Hampton Court. It's going to be a slightly different display than what people are probably used to. So yeah, that's the plan. Off to the next tunnel. Right, this is the polytunnel where I'll be growing the dahlias for Hampton, or the majority of the dahlias for Hampton Court will be grown in here, on this what was my sweet pea bed, or 2 of my sweet pea beds. I'll be growing pretty much cramming that full of tubers, probably just 2 tubers of each variety, or maybe sometimes 1, depends on the varieties and what I've got spare. And they'll be planted up there in a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks time. And then these are all my early sweet peas. I've still got a few old-fashioned ones to plant, just a pot of each variety along the back there, and then I've got a little bit of space at the end for a couple of different varieties, but they're all for early blooms, and I'm hoping they're going to be out for the 19th of May, which is the weekend prior to Chelsea Flower Show, and it's a show that I'm doing over in Essex at Highlands House, and I hope to put on a nice little sweet pea display there. So that's what they're for. They're coming along really nicely, really pleased with the plants. The weather's been kind, we've had some nice warm days and they're pushing on. So who knows, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that they'll be out just prior to Chelsea, which is very early. So I'm just hoping that the weather's kind again. And these are all my sweet peas. These pots here are all what I'm using for seed production, predominantly. Some were grown from using they were potted up into a professional pot bedding compost, but they haven't done very well. They get in there, but they didn't like the compost, whereas the ones grown just in a relatively cheap and cheerful multi-purpose have got away nicely. So yeah, an interesting unintentional trial, but a trial nonetheless. The ones over here are the ones I take to my plant sales. They're looking smashing, absolutely smashing plants. And then the ones over in this side are all the ones for me. These are all my exhibition plants, and these will all be going out, hopefully be planted out in about a fortnight's time if we have some nice dry weather. Just desperate for some dry weather to dry out the ground. We're on heavy ground here. It needs a couple of weeks of dry weather with a nice breeze to dry it out before I can get these planted. But they're looking some of the best plants I've had for a long time. And then there's a few more for selling, some old-fashioned ones there. So there we go. That's all the growing at the moment. So yeah, we'll post another video in a few weeks' time. Take care. Bye bye.